Hey guys, welcome back to the second upload of the day here on the ChesnoidGaming channel. Thank you very much for your support on these double uploads on this Nottingham Forest save as we continue on to finish this season before the beginning of FIFA 23. Continual apologies for the lack of ability to leave a comment. Still in the process of trying to get that fixed. Desperately hoping that it does between now and the launch of FIFA 23. Because it's going to significantly hurt the channel if comments aren't able to be made on my content. But regardless, if you're looking forward to FIFA 23 and the comment situation isn't fixed in due course and you want to give me some feedback, then do come and either join me on Twitch, link in the description down below, and you can leave that feedback in the live chat, or feel free to follow me on Twitter and tweet me your feedback for videos, etc. Moving forward. It's just a really frustrating situation to be in. Unfortunately, it's out of my control at present. So we start today with Arsenal, who are in 7th. Then we've our first leg of the quarterfinal of the Europa League against FC Köln. And then Manchester City away. So after the really annoying defeat against Leeds at the end of the earlier episode this afternoon, we've seen ourselves drop to 5th. But obviously, with City to play today, and hopefully other results to go our way as well, we can get ourselves back into the top 4. I still want to be part of that title-chasing pack, and I believe we can be. Against the side that I'm going to be starting FIFA 23 with, can we end strong in FIFA 22? 4-2-3-1 as well, although a wider version for Arsenal here. Aaron Ramsdale in goal. Davide Calabria at right back. And Mbemba, John Stones and Tyrell Malacia as the back 4. Mikel Merino and Paqueta in the 2 central midfield roles with Dan Yuma on the left. Brennan Johnson at cam and Federico Chiesa on the right with Gabby Jesus leading the line up top. They do have someone else to lead the line if they need to. Romelu Lukaku's on the bench, as well as an 88 rated Zaniolo, 84 Zubimendi, 86 Renan Lodi. Solid looking Arsenal side, but we have a solid looking side of our own. Popescu now 86 rated and continuing to grow. Schlotterbeck 87 and continuing to grow. If we win every single game we have remaining this year, then rather evidently we'll have done very well regardless of where the league position pans out, because we've still got Arsenal, Manchester City and Chelsea to play. But if we win every single game remaining, then we stand a really genuinely good chance of challenging for the Premier League title. I would have us down as not necessarily favourites for the Europa League, but certainly one of the favourites for that competition at this stage of the season. As we look for Rashford here, and he buries that to give us a really very good 1-0 early lead. And rather evidently against Accrington Stanley in the semi-finals in the FA Cup, with Manchester United or Chelsea in the final to come, should we beat Accrington Stanley, we're certainly in the reckoning for the FA Cup too. Good finish that from Marcus Rashford. That's much better than the Leeds game that I just played prior to starting the recording of this episode. We're 1-0 in front. Back to Mikel Merino. Forward to Brennan Johnson again and Gabby Jesus. Just held me breath there a little bit. That was particularly impressive from Arsenal, as you might well come to expect. Very, very good in possession. A little bit of trickery, some flair. But thankfully, no goal, which isn't something you've become accustomed to saying with Arsenal so far this season. IRL, they have really started to come of age, that young squad for Mikel Arteta. Very much so. Jeremy Pino trying to find Marcus Rashford here. And Jacob Ramsey's continuing that run. Has he got the legs to get there ahead of Chancel Mbemba? He does not, unfortunately. I'm actually really looking forward to starting at Arsenal on FIFA 23. I think it could be a really successful save. Currently only planning a one-season shootout, but if it's well enough supported and people want it to continue, then I'm quite happy to push on for a second season and maybe more. But Federico Chiesa has levelled up for this Arsenal side, and again, it was very well put together. The movement from Chiesa to run all the way across and then find the channel. It's a good finish, but slightly disappointed that the keeper hasn't been able to keep that out. Win that well up Indeed, Yeremy Pino has gotten past Malacia. We'll try on the floor this time to Rashford. And, well, I was right there to try and take control, but Mikel Merino on the floor ended up acting like a blockade, and I just couldn't get a foot to the ball to try and turn it home. We might well have found the lead again there if it weren't for the man just randomly lying down on the floor, but unorthodox defending, but somehow it's managed to actually work for Arsenal there. And now here they come through Gabby Jesus and tried to outmuscle him and couldn't. Kuhn Castells has to pull out the save, otherwise the Brazilian was going to give them a 2-1 advantage. We're looking to give ourselves a 2-1 advantage, but we might end up going behind. Good blocks, and the ball is free, and Popescu will get away to Danjuma. Here's Lucas Paqueta, Brandon Johnson, Gabby Jesus. I'm struggling in this one, I have to be honest, and open with myself. We have not been at our best. Is that a foul? It is. Hopefully we live to fight another day defensively. Arsenal have been the better side. Lucas Paqueta going off for Zubimendi now in the midfield. Fingers crossed we can keep them out for the remainder of the game. Obviously, we want wins. That goes without saying. So, at this stage, any dropped points, regardless of opponent, is a frustrating result. Indeed, he finds Rashford. We'll use Mikalenko. Then tuck that back. And Rashford to Ramsey. No. Oh, if I'd have shot there, it would have just quite simply been blocked. So I had to try and find a pass of some description. Guendouzi's done brilliantly there. That is the sort of hard graft, excellent effort and work rate that you love to see from a man in your midfield. Rashford will look for Ramsey. Find Yeremy Pino. Just had to wait for the ball to arrive. Goes down. And a corner is given. My manager, guys, screaming for a pen. Is he give a goal kick? Even the linesman, I thought, pointed to the corner flag. Okay, well, just over 20 minutes to go. I'm not sure if any substitutions I can make at this stage would actually make much of a difference. I'm just going to continue to try and grind with what we've got and get a result. I'll look for Rashford. Please have the legs. Please have the legs. Chancellor Mbemba might not be spectacularly talented, but he has definitely been solid enough. And Wilfred Ndidi's passing has been particularly poor for us. I know he's in there as a defensive rock, but I really would like a little bit more from him creatively at times. Guendouzi just trying to find some space to find a teammate that's definitely not just going to disappear offside as soon as I play the ball to him. Mikalenko, Guendouzi, into Jacob Ramsey. Looking for Yeremy Pino. He's in a great spot, Pino, but John Stones is across to block before the shot can find its way towards Aaron Ramsdale's goal. They've been very good, Arsenal, and I just don't seem at the moment to have the answer for their defensive solidity. Here's Malacia. Guendouzi trying to get there. Guendouzi does well. Just steps in front of the man. Come on. Come on. It's not a great ball, is it, Marcus? It's really not a great ball. It's not a great pass from them either. Popescu is beating his man. Popescu's in! No! Unbelievable! What have I got to do to win a game? I felt like I couldn't do anything to give myself anything of any real note against Leeds in the last game of the earlier episode today. And surely we should have won it there with Popescu. I can't believe we haven't. Mikalenko gets up well there. Popescu's going to give and go. Jacob Ramsey looking to feed Rashford through. His touch is decent, but again, it's Chancel bloody Mbemba that has been the best defender on the field today. Oh, I can't believe Popescu didn't bury that. It's going to be a draw against Arsenal. Ugh. I can't say as I deserve the win, because Arsenal have been the better side for the majority of the game, but I would absolutely have taken the 3 points. Oh, Popescu, Popescu, Popescu. Please tell me Spurs lost at least, and Newcastle and Chelsea and Manchester City. Well, I'm not going to find out any of the other results yet. Come on. We've got the Europa League coming up next. It is a team game, and they played very well as a team, especially as a defensive unit. We just couldn't find a way through. I'm disappointed we couldn't keep the clean sheet as well. And it was frustrating not to find a winner. The lads know they can be better than that, though, and they will need to be moving forward. Ah, man. what did everybody else do over the course of that weekend? We'll advance past Monday Night Football, just in case there is any, as we head towards the quarterfinal of the Europa League against FC Köln. We'll have a look and see what the league table looks like prior to that game against Manchester City. Down to 6th now. Still the gap, only 7. Spurs lost as well. Who did they lose? Oh, sorry, Spurs drew as well. No, Spurs must have lost. Where are they? Hello, Tottenham. Yeah, they did. They lost 2-0 at home against Everton. So another opportunity passed up to close the gap at the top. If I'd got that winner against Arsenal and at least had an equaliser against Leeds, that would have been an extra 3 points. Man! Other results are going our way. We just can't get our own results to go our way. Quarterfinal, leg 1 of the Europa League. An unorthodox 4-2-3-1 for FC Köln. Andrada in goal. Van Ewijk, Bednarek, David Carmo and Janus Horn at the back. Martel and Sissoko are sat deep. Then Akinkunmi Amu on the very right and Cifuentes on the very left. And Al-Hajj is just off-centre there behind Brian Brobby, who himself, I think, it's hard to tell. It kind of messes with your eyes because Al-Hajj is off-centre. I think Brian Brobby is actually central, maybe slightly just skewed to the left a little bit. It's very rare you actually see a team do something like that. But we'll see how it works for them. I don't really suppose it makes too much difference, really, in their actual positioning in-game. Because they'll just play at cam and striker and have free roam of the entire width of the pitch. But by default, they're lining up in a peculiar fashion. They've done very well to get this far in the competition. They've obviously knocked out Tottenham on their way to this part in the competition. So we know that they're decent. The only change for me is Mongala is in for Ndidi, who's been frustrating today. And Guendouzi could have given us a great start there, but couldn't. Schlotterbeck knows all about FC Köln from his time in Germany. Al-Hajj has crunched me there. Wouldn't let me change player till Brian Bobby was certain to get the ball, which is annoying still. But frustration against Arsenal, and started with a little bit of frustration against FC Köln. We'll try and snuff that out and just have a solid first leg if we can. Mikolenko into Mongala. We'll look for Guendouzi. And then Jacob Ramsey's in. Simple finish for a simple goal. Jacob Ramsey makes it 1-0 Forest. But we were 1-0 up against Arsenal and we weren't able to see that one through. If I can get a 2, at least, goal lead at the end of this first leg, then I'd feel comfortable enough simming the second leg later in the episode. But I would like at least a 2-goal advantage to head into that second leg to be confident enough to go and play City and then sim Köln in the second leg before we head into the next episode tomorrow. Nicely done. Mark Gay. Rashford. Just out of the reach. Just out of the reach. Just out of the reach. Tight angle. Not going to stop him. 2-0. We're dominating in Germany. That was a really, really well put together goal. The weight of pass in every sense. Perfection. Touch was a bit heavy, but the finish, exactly what was needed. Martel, good block by Mongala. Rashford gets to it first as it drops. Oh, Jacob Ramsey could have been in there. Mikolenko will get this back to Marcus Rashford. Guendouzi's there. Jeremy Pino's made a great run. Pino for 3. Pino for 3. I'm sorry, FC Köln. I love Cologne as a city. Been multiple times. We did a save with you on FIFA 20 that I very much enjoyed, but you are not good enough to battle with this Forest team. Mongala, Jacob Ramsey, Guendouzi. Are we in again? Jeremy Pino. Cross blocked well by Janus Horn, but it's fallen free to Jeremy Pino again. And still we have it. And still we pull away from FC Köln. 4 inside the first half. Why couldn't this have happened against Leeds or Arsenal, huh? I'll give you dues. They've pulled one back there, FC Köln. I was trying to just outmuscle their player on a couple of occasions. I didn't really feel the need to comment on it because I just was comfortable enough with the way that they were building. It felt like they weren't really going anywhere. And here I thought I was just going to outmuscle him, but Schlotterbeck, he's almost too small to try and muscle with. And Schlotterbeck's kind of got him caught all underneath his feet. And Ait El Hadj pulls one back for FC Köln. They're not going to get themselves back in this. We're surely only going to pull further away. But fair play for them getting at least one back and proving that they can score against one of the best sides in the Premier League. I say that as if they haven't already knocked out the side that's currently top of the Premier League in the previous round. But, well, this has been one-sided so far, hasn't it? And the scoreline finally actually reflects that. El Hadj. I thought Tarek Lamptey had that then. Cifuentes to Janus Horn. Oh, that's a nice little return ball. Big save. He's offside. Big save from Koen Casteels there. Expected my guy. I felt like I'd positioned him well enough to actually get in the way. But the ball evaded him. And unfortunately, for them at least, in their build-up, Koen Casteels comes up with a good save. Oh, that's a great delivery. Teasing cross. Guendouzi will try and nod this down. Popescu gets it under control. Bit of space. Good save by the goalkeeper, Andrada, and Janus Horn. Bit of miscommunication with himself and his goalkeeper there, actually, but in the end, they're able to get rid of it and keep that in play. It's not quite worked for FC Köln today, has it? Nothing really seems to be going right for them, other than the one chance they had where they scored their goal. They're doubling up on Tammy Abraham there to ensure that he doesn't get a clean header on goal. Yeremy Pino will look to switch this. Not put enough on it. Oh, did that hit a hand? It did. Free kick in a very good position. Literally right on the edge of the box. Unfortunately, no Marcus Rashford on the field anymore to take it. But Guendouzi can have a crack from here. But can I get it up and down again? That's what I'm curious to find out. Yes. And you won't see a more perfectly placed free kick from anyone else for quite a while. That was right in the top corner. We have our full goal advantage back again. And that from Matteo Guendouzi is worth another look. Off the underside of the bar. Sensational from the Frenchman. Just dipping in time to clip the underside of the bar and in. That was a very, very impressive free kick from Senor Floppy Hair himself. 5-1 in the 80th minute. We're definitely going to be simming that second leg now. Not been good enough, have they? I am surprised that this side was able to get the results that they were against Tottenham. Was it a 1-1 and a 2-2, I think? And then winning on penalties to get through to this quarter-final from the round of 16. But yeah, too far. One round too many for FC Köln. There's still a second leg, but if they turn this around, then I will end my YouTube channel. That's how confident I am of the second leg. Sassuolo win 3-2 in Portugal against Porto. Inter win 1-0 away from home against Juventus. But we now have to focus back in England. It's Manchester City on the way. City super strong as ever. Not as strong as they could be, though. Both Calvin Phillips and Yuri Tielemans suspended for this particular match day. Ederson, Cancelo, Torres, Diaz and Mendes in the back line. Rodri, Herrera and Valverde in the midfield. With Sterling, Haaland and Foden as the front three. Continually, they're decent on the bench, but not as much strength there as we've seen from a couple of other squads throughout the course of this season and save. Just so happens that their starting 11 is absolutely monstrous. With Ruben Diaz in there, Ederson is unbelievable. Obviously, not really much needs to be said about a 92 rated Phil Foden and a 94. Erling Braut Haaland does it really. We won 3-0 when we played them in the league. We won 2-1 when we played them in the cup. So, now that we desperately need to pick up as many wins as possible in the league, watch me lose this 5-0. Jesus Christ, he hit that hard. Stinging the palms of Casteels, running the risk of breaking a finger or two when a striker hits the ball at you that hard. Sterling into the middle, but Guendouzi in the way. And, well, how open to a counter are they? Let's have a look. Jacob Ramsey trying to get it left there to Popescu, has done well. Please still be onside. Please still be onside. Idiot. 3 points and 2 places between the two teams, as you can see top left. Goal difference is, well, it was slightly in our favour by about a single goal, I think. Ramsey's done well. Ruben Dias. I don't think I've ever played against a defender that has been as solid as Ruben Dias in any FIFA ever. Ruben Dias on FIFA 22 is, without shadow of doubt, the best defender I have ever played against. Schlotterbeck to Mikolenko. Had to wait for Popescu to get back on side. Enough weight to pass on that for it to find Jacob Ramsey. It's at the base of the post on that far side. Edison did just enough at narrowing angles to ensure that he couldn't turn it home inside the woodwork. The closest either side have come to a goal so far, with Jacob Ramsey rattling that right-hand post. Erling Haaland stinging the palms of our goalkeeper early doors. It could be 1-1, but a clean sheet apiece to this point. That said, here comes City again. Phil Foden, unbelievable footwork. Haaland, Sterling, 1-0 Manchester City. Lamptey into Guendouzi. That's poor from me, to be fair. They're going to punish me for that, aren't they? Yangel Herrera. The accuracy of their shots from distance is so high. Kuhn Casteels is having to leap away early and get up right into the corners to stop these long shots from flying in. Guendouzi just out-muscles Raheem Sterling there. See if we can get them on a counter-attack at some point, but they're playing really well so far, Manchester City. Sterling, Haaland, waiting for the ball back. There it is, and Mark Gay's in the way, thankfully. Right, this is the counter-attack I've been waiting for, though. Phil Foden is right with me. Inside to Jacob Ramsey, through the gap. That's not through the gap, is it, pal? Oh, he's kicked it straight to Ruben Dias. Never mind, we're going to be 1-0 down, maybe 2-0 down at the break. Definitely just the 1-0 down at the break. Hopefully in the second half we can turn it around. We've just scored 5 against Cologne. So we know we've got goals in us. Oh, he's fumbled it. Managed to get it away. We know we've got goals in us, so we'll be confident enough for that second half. Free kick early doors in the second half. Yeremy Pino found short. It was meant for Guendouzi. It finds Schlotterbeck. But this is still building nicely. You're offside, aren't you, Yeremy? Oh, man, that was very nearly expertly put together to find an equaliser. I couldn't find one against Leeds. We couldn't find a winner against Arsenal. This has the feeling of being one of those again. Not one where we're necessarily dominated, but one where we just can't quite find that final pass or effort to give us the goal that we need to get the result that we want. Oh, Popescu, you're in. Run, son. Use that pace. Use that pace. Use that pace. Turn, use that dribbling, and finish! Level in front of those travelling fans. 1-1 at the Etihad. Octavian Popescu doesn't score many, but that was a brilliant individual effort. Racing down the left-hand side and wax lyrical about Ruben Dias forever. Actually, there might not even have been Ruben Dias. It might have been the other centre-back, actually. So maybe that's because it wasn't Ruben Dias that we were able to get that goal. Regardless, we are level here with time left. It was Pau Torres we were up against, not Ruben Dias. That's probably why we scored. If it was Ruben Dias, he would have read the turn and taken it off me. Switch from Ndidi. Finds Tarek Lamptey really nicely, actually. And Guendouzi will look for Yeremy Pino here. And I've got options in the middle. We lead. How's that for a turnaround? Don't call it a comeback. Jacob Ramsey slams it home, and 2 goals in 3 minutes. See Nottingham Forest come from behind to now lead in the Northwest. This might put us back in the top 4. Edison flabbergasted. Can't believe that his side has just crumbled like that. I'm glad they have, though. 10th goal of the season for Jacob Ramsey. He had one breakout season, didn't he, where he scored like 20+ goals. And since then, he's been a good source of goals, but not a great source of goals. We could be in for another. We are indeed. Rashford makes it 3. City falling apart, crumbling. Okay, not the greatest of slide tackles, I will be honest. Nor was that. Jesus Christ. Try and float this for Rashford. And that's gone very well. Oh, Michael Elise's in to maybe make it 4. Which he won't do, because he's pulled that past the target on his weaker right side. Should have buried it. Didn't. But it shouldn't cost us the result. 3-1 up with 7 minutes to go. We're walking towards 3 points here. And they keep shooting themselves in the foot, City. We really have got them rattled, haven't we? Ramsey. Rashford again. And Mikolenko into the middle. Nuno Mendes does well. Consolation goal for City would be good for them in as such as it would lessen the goal difference swing in our favour, because that goal difference between ourselves and City is very close and tight at the minute. And if they're to finish in the top 4 above us, then making this 3-2 rather than 3-1 would actually be very much in their interest. What isn't in their interest is conceding a 4th. And Alex Mighton can't shoot. Never has been able to shoot. 3-1 we win. Should have made it 4 at the end there, but we won't worry too much at this stage unless we miss out on something this year by a single goal. In which case, I'll be furious. Chelsea draw 2-2, which is good news for us. It will close us in on them. We have them yet to play in this season. We defended very well indeed. And, well, just came out of nowhere in that second half. It's all about the players. They did the business today out on the field to turn that round. Very impressive indeed. And the performance sets the standard for the whole team moving forward. Play like that, not like how you did against Leeds and Arsenal. And we will certainly be fine this year in every competition. Accrington Stanley on the horizon. There is that Chelsea game upcoming, as we mentioned. I will make a couple of changes to the team before we go in and sim this one, because rather evidently I'm going to want the majority of my players fit and ready and raring to go for that game against Chelsea. So players that generally tend to struggle for fitness will take out. But that should be certainly strong enough. In fact, let's give Emi Martinez the game, shall we? Because he's not played a single fixture since January. Can he keep a clean sheet against FC Köln? 5-1 up from the first leg. Jesus Christ. No, he can't keep a clean sheet. FC Köln win 3-0. Well, that was borderline diabolical, wasn't it? Can you imagine if we'd have... No, I don't even want to contemplate it. I think given that, I'm definitely not simming the Accrington Stanley game. That's not worth the risk at all, is it? Thank God we scored 5 in that first leg. Jesus Christ. Into the semi-finals of the Europa League. The semi-finals of the FA Cup on the horizon as well. It's Chelsea to start. Then it's Crystal Palace midweek. And then Accrington Stanley in the FA Cup semi at Wembley. Before then, Juventus in the Europa League semi-finals. Right then. That'll be all for this one. Join me in the next one. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've got that notification bell ticked and you won't miss any more. Not many left now before FIFA 23. But stick with me for this one because it's going to be a banging end of the season. I'll see you next time.